Beati, it comes from the Latin word. Actually is from the Latin version of the Old Testament and the New Testament. Okay, it's the Vulgate. Okay, or the Vulgate. Yeah, it's the Latin translation of the whole Bible, and the Latin word Beati means blessed or blessings. So that's why the English word we are adopting the Latin word Beati and call that Beatitudes. Okay, there are 8 different Beatitudes in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 5. And today we're going to take a look at the first one. And as we know, Jesus Christ, he shared with his disciples and also the crowd about the Sermon on the Mount. And the Beatitude is part of the Sermon on the Mount. And for the Chinese people, we always like, blessings. And we always have, different kinds of blessings, especially when it's a New Year time, the Chinese New Year time. We have all those auspicious words being written on red paste, stuck on the door, or, in the living room. And sometimes we see people putting the word, blessings, that means fuk, upside down, the inverted or the reverted upside down word of fuk means the arrival of blessings. And we always want blessings. And for the Chinese, we have 5 different kinds of blessings for so many years. They talk about 5 different kinds of blessings. 五福臨門, we call that. Right? That means the 5 blessings we all aspire, we all want is longevity. That means, long live, live a long life. Prosperity, have a lot of wealth. And tonicity, that means healthy, have a good health. And integrity or dignity, like your good name, your good fame. And also finally, 35,000 years ago, they started with good death. That means you die of natural causes, okay? You don't die of accidents. And in Cantonese, we call that 壽終正寢. Yeah, and that means you die of a good cause, okay? But, after about 1,000 years, around the time in the late Han Dynasty, and some people think, wishing people a good death is not a very good gesture. It's not a very good wish, right? Especially when you go visit your relatives during Chinese New Year. Okay, we just wish them luck, wish them fortune. Okay, when I go and visit you and I say, well, wish you longevity, wish you prosperity, everybody would be happy, right? But if I come visit you and then the first word from my mouth is, oh, 恭喜發財, I wish you a good death. Yeah, that's not very nice. So some people, they say, okay, we just wipe it out. I mean, not saying good death anymore. We should think of something that people like to be blessed. So they change it from good death to fertility. That means more children, more sons and daughters, and then more grandsons and daughters. And that means, more and more, next generation. That means it's a blessing for you. So the 5 blessings is all defined in the image of man. It's very subjective, whether you like it or not. It all depends on how you look at it. I still remember my dad. He already passed away. But when he was 10 years ago almost, when he was 80 years old, me and my sister, we threw him a big birthday party, 80 years old. But at that time, he was already suffering from terminal cancer. And he was very weak. But we just want to celebrate with him because he's 80 years old. For Chinese people, 80 years old is a very important date. So we threw him a big banquet. And then during the banquet, my sister, who was not a Christian yet, and then she said to my father, he said, oh, Dad, we wish you 100 years old. 長命百歲. Yeah, there's, our Chinese wish. And then my dad, he was very humorous. He said, "Stop it, please, stop it." He said, "I don't want to live and suffer 20 more years." He said, "I'm 80 years old. I have enough of my days on earth. I want to see God in heaven." And so, living a long life may not be the wish for everybody. And of course, the last wish, the last blessings, having more children, having more grandchildren, may not be the wish of some people either. My father always taught me, he said, don't have too many children. If you have too many children, you have a lot of enemies. Yeah, 多兒多女多冤家. That's what he said. Yeah. So just don't have too many. Well, so a lot of different people, they define blessings by their own, definition. And it's very, very subjective. In Chinese, we have the 5 blessings. But how does the Bible or Jesus define blessings? So today we're going to take a look at the Beatitude number 1. It's all about blessings, the 8 blessings. And let's take a look. Now, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on the mountainside and sat down. Now, this is all Jesus always he did was to take himself away from the crowd and try to teach his disciples. But of course, at that time, they don't have security guard, they don't have bodyguards, so the crowds will gather around him and listen to him. But he was trying to preach or to teach to the disciples the very true meaning of blessings. Now, and verse 2 says, and he began to teach them. Now, the NIV version, it doesn't translate completely what the Greek original sentence means. Okay, the Greek original sentence, it goes like this. Then he opened his mouth and began to teach them. Now, it's rather redundant, right? You teach somebody, you have to open your mouth anyway, right? So why you have to say you open your mouth and then teach? And because in Greek, it is a very important emphasis that what is going to say in the following is very, very important. What is so important? And Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit. So we have to take a look at the original Greek word. What's the meaning of blessings? Is blessings just being defined by longevity, how long you live, or how much wealth you have, or how good your health is? Or what is the real meaning when Jesus, he was saying, blessed are those people? And as you know, in the original Greek sentence structure, there's no narratives. That means when Jesus saying, it's a declaration. It's like an exclamation mark. Blessed, or being blessed, exclamation mark. The meek. Being blessed, the pure in heart. Being blessed, the poor in spirit. It is a declaration by Jesus Christ. And Jesus said, if you want to be blessed, you have to be like this. So first of all, we have to take a look, what's the meaning of blessings? Now, the original Greek word, Makarios. Makarios, when used in ancient Greek times, it has 2 very important meanings. It is a word being used to describe, 1, the god or goddesses in Greek mythology. Now, in Greek mythology, there are a lot of gods and goddesses. And when you become one of those gods or one of those goddesses, and you are a blessed person, you are a blessed being because you have elevated yourself to become a god. And the second meaning, the word Makarios was used to describe very, very extremely rich people. When you have the money like Bill Gates or the owner of Amazon or Warren Buffett, you are a Makarios person. You are a blessed person. Now, let's think it this way. When Jesus, he was talking to the disciples or even talking to the crowd at that time, most of those people, they are grassroots people. They are low, in the socioeconomic level, of the society. Most of them, they are not rich people. And of course, all of them, they are not gods or goddesses. So it's very, very strange that why Jesus Christ, he was using this word Makarios to teach those people. It's just something that you can never reach, you can never achieve, because it's only reserved for the rich and famous, or the gods and the goddesses. So we have to take a look at this word. Now, in a lot of different translations, the word Makarios was translated into happy, like J.B. Phillips' version, like Good News Bible, like New Life Translation. They all translated the word Makarios into happy. Now, but in English word happy, it comes from the word help. That means happening. And we are happy when the happenings around us make us happy. Okay, it's very simple. When you come to this church today, or when you have air conditioning, you're happy. Okay, yeah. When suddenly the air conditioning breaks down, then you're not happy because you are hot. You don't feel well. And when you go to Great America this afternoon, how fun it is, and you're happy, right? But when you look at how much money you spent, then you're not happy. So happy is related to happiness, is related to happenings. When the outward environment or the surroundings is not pleasant to you, then you will not be happy. But Makarios is more than what's happening outside of you. And somebody said, well, maybe it's all very subjective. Okay, when you think longevity is a blessing, then it's a blessing. When you look at it, not a blessing, then it's not a blessing. And when you look at wealth, if it is a blessing to you, then praise the Lord. If it's not a blessing to you, then, it's up to you. It's all subjective. But so it's very hard to define if everybody thinks, a different way to define the word Makarios. Now, to me, the best definition of the word Makarios is from the Chinese translation of the Bible. The Cantonese word, or the Chinese word, "福," it really is the best translation of the word Makarios. Why? We just have to admit that the Chinese people, their wisdom of constructing all their words, all their characters. Now, when we take a look at the word "福," take a look at the left radical of the word. The left radical of word "福," doesn't come by a man radical, or a animal radical, or a money gum radical. The left radical of the word "福" is God, 神之寶, 師之寶. It's God. It's a word for the ancient sacrifice. When somebody there are two hands taking a jar of wine in front of God to sacrifice to God. And this is Makarios. What does that mean? When God bless you with all the harvest, well, at that time, it's all farming society. When God bless you with all those grains and grapes and rice and wheat and all those harvests, you can survive by consuming all those harvests, but at the same time you have a lot left. So what would you do? You make wine out of those leftovers. Grapes, rice, wheat. And then when you have the wine, you give a portion of the wine to God as a sacrifice. You can have abundant leftovers. God is blessing you with a lot, and you have the chance to make those into wine, and then you give the wine as a sacrifice to God. And this is Makarios. The Makarios is that, to remind us that God is the source of all blessings. Blessings doesn't being defined by our own selves. What I perceive, I think this is a blessing, then this is a blessing. No. It's not being defined by the happenings. It's defined by God alone. And our Lord is the source of all the blessings. Psalm 115, verse 13 says, He will bless those who fear the Lord, small and great alike. Small and great alike. No matter how small you are or how great you are, no matter how poor you are, how rich you are, if you fear the Lord. What is fear the Lord? I always use this as a very simple definition. You acknowledge, you are aware that God is God. That's it. And when you drive, you fear the Lord. When you go home and shut your door, you fear the Lord. When you browse the internet, you fear the Lord. When you fill out your IRS, for the government, you fear the Lord. Brothers and sisters, fear the Lord means you acknowledge and you're aware of His presence. Now, this is only the first step. Those who fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It's just the beginning, but this is very important because blessings come from the Lord alone. And He's the source of our blessings. Because blessings can only be given and can only be bestowed by God alone. We cannot buy blessings. We cannot outlive blessings. We cannot accumulate to trade for blessings. Because blessings come from the Lord alone. And brothers and sisters, it is so comforting to those people who are poor, who has no power, who have, no wealth at all. Because to them, to the rich, to the poor, everybody, we can still be a Makarios person. Regardless of our social status, of our wealth, of our power, we can be blessed by God if we fear the Lord. And this is, mind-opening for those people. And this is also the foundation of all the other 7 blessings. Because when you know, who is being blessed in the first Beatitude, then you understand that this is the foundation for the other 7 blessings. Now, let's take a look, which kind of people they can be blessed. Who are those who fear the Lord? Let's take a look. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit. Now, we have to take a look at the other Greek word. Now, Greek is a very precise language. They use very different words to describe a precise meaning, for the sentence. Now, for English word, poor is poor, right? But in Greek, there are two different words for being poor. Now, the first word is penes. Now, penes is a word describes, you have your income, okay, but every month when you take your paycheck, you pay your mortgage, you pay your car loan, you pay for your children's education, you pay for Disneyland, you pay for your food and entertainment, and you pay for everything else. And then at the end of the month, you don't have anything left. There's no savings in the bank, especially in the Bay Area. And so, you're poor, and now, we are all penes, we are all poor here, because, we don't have any savings left. That's poor. Yes, we're poor. Now, but Jesus did not use penes. Jesus was using another word for poor, tokos. What is tokos? Tokos means you don't even have a paycheck. You are as poor as a church mouse. Okay? There's nothing for you to eat. It's the same word used to describe the poor guy Lazarus when he was begging in front of the rich guy and trying to get something to eat without clothes. And you are poor, like you don't have anything at all. And Jesus said to the crowd and to his disciples, when you are so poor, you are blessed. Wow, what a great blessings to say this, when you don't have anything. So that's why some English translation added the word in spirit is poor in spirit. But actually, Jesus was only using the word poor, tokos. But as you know, Jesus wasn't talking about physical wealth as being poor. Jesus, indeed, he was talking about in the spirit. Now, so when we look at some of the translations, I think they well describe what Jesus was trying to say. Great blessings, the easy read version. Great blessings belong to those who know they are spiritually in need. There's a great paraphrase. Great blessings belongs to those who know they are spiritually in need. You're blessed. The message. When you are at the end of your rope, with less of you, there is more of God and His rule. Brothers and sisters, today our problem is we think we are so good that we do not need God anymore. Or God, He's being placed in the last resort. Okay, it's like in American football. There's a Hail Mary play, right? Yeah, so if anything, everything didn't work, then we ask God to come and help, okay? Because to us, we are so good at everything. We just don't need Him. This is our human problem. And Jesus said, if you want to be blessed, brothers and sisters, there's one very important thing. You perceive yourself as a vulnerable and weak and helpless person. And then you can come to God and ask for God's help. And this is the beginning of your receiving blessings from Him. We always hear the phrase, God help those who help themselves. But Jesus said, no, that's not right. God will help those who are helpless. When you come to God and tell Him, Lord, I'm not that good, I'm weak, I'm vulnerable, I need your help, then this is the beginning of your blessings. And that's why Jesus, he said, well, you have to return back like an image of a child, and you'll be blessed. And what is the image of a child? A child is naughty and ignorant. They don't know anything. What does that mean? Jesus said, you have to return back to the attitude of a child. When a child, he cannot do something, he or she will go to the Father and ask the Father, Father, I need you. I still remember my two daughters, the good old days, when they came to me and asked me, Father, I need you. I don't know how to finish this exercise, this homework. Father, would you come help me? I cannot get that chocolate cookies on top of the cabinet. Father, can you go help me? Oh, Father, I make a mess in the bathroom. Father, would you help me? Father, I need you. You're not like right now. Matt, you're going to have those days. When I go into their room, they said, get out. I don't need you. Get out. Well, then, they won't have any blessings anymore, right? Yeah, the blessings only come when you go to the Father and said, Father, I need you. And brothers and sisters, this is the same way with our salvation. A lot of people, they don't think they need God. They think they are God. And they don't need God at all. And so how can they get the salvation if we have that kind of mentality or that kind of attitude? And God said, no matter how good you are or how bad you are, when you come to God and let Him know, I'm just a sinner, Lord. I need you. If you still remember, Jesus said and talk about the parables or one story about the tax collector and also the Pharisee. The Pharisee, he goes to God and said, well, I'm proud of myself because I did this, I tithed, I came to worship, I did all those good works. I'm proud of myself. And then the tax collector, he went to God and said, Lord, I'm a sinner. Please forgive me. And Jesus said, which one would the Father in heaven pleased most? And Jesus said, it's not the one who have done all kinds of good works. It's the one, no matter how good or how bad you are, but you're willing to come to God and tell Him, Father, I need you. And Jesus said, when you have that attitude towards God, you are a blessed person. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. We are all citizens of the kingdom of heaven. But the kingdom of heaven doesn't stop by just entering as a citizen. Well, we have all kinds of privilege and rights. Being a citizen in heaven, we have eternal life. You have abundant life on earth, and we have a church, and we are being protected and being provided by the Lord, and being blessed by Him. But a citizen in the kingdom of heaven also bears not just the privilege, but also the responsibility of being a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And brothers and sisters, this is so real for a lot of Christians. We think we earn the ticket to heaven. It's free. And we don't have to do anything. And really, we do not need to in order to acquire or to obtain salvation, because salvation is free. But being a citizen in the kingdom of heaven doesn't mean that we are immune from the responsibility of being a citizen. Because we are being called not just to receive blessings, but also to spread the blessings. You know, the kingdom of heaven is like what? It's like a mustard seed. You know, a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet it grows, and it becomes the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree. For what? For decoration? For your own pride? No. You know, it's for the birds to come and perch in its branches. So they can get shadows. They can be blessed. God makes us great in order to bless other people. And let's take a look. You know, Jesus said to Abraham, I will make you a great nation and I will bless you. Make your name great. For what? Not for your own self, but I will make you a blessing to other nations. And we can still remember this, the Great Commission. We are all Christians. And the Lord wants us to continue to bless other people. And maybe you're telling me, oh, Pastor Leung, I don't have anything. What can I do to bless other people? There's one word we can learn today. Learn to give. G-I-V-E. Give. You said, I don't have anything to give. You do, brothers and sisters. At least you have your own salvation story to tell other people, to give to other people. You know, I always tell brothers and sisters, in this world, there's no free lunch. Salvation is free for you. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to work for anything, you know, in order to get salvation. It's bestowed by God, yes. When you open your mouth and tell God, Lord, you know, I'm a sinner, I need you. And then salvation will come to you. But actually, salvation is not free. Salvation comes with a great price from Jesus Christ. We can receive a free salvation because Jesus paid it all. And brothers and sisters, we're sitting here comfortably worshiping God. It's free. You know, you don't have to pay a dime to come and worship here. But actually, it's not free. This place is being paid and is still being paid by a lot of brothers and sisters because they're willing to give. And for you parents, your kids being in, you know, Orange Kids program every Sunday, they are being nurtured and they grow in Christ. You don't have to pay anything for that. It's free. It's free because a lot of children workers and volunteers, they're willing to devote their time and energy and their love to these children so that they can receive the service free. Brothers and sisters, salvation is free because God gave His Son. This church is free for you because brothers and sisters, they're willing to sacrifice. Crosspoint was born because of chills. They were willing to sacrifice and give. And brothers and sisters, this is my plea today, and this is a plea from Jesus Christ. If you want to be blessed, come to the Father and tell Him, Lord, I need you. But when you receive the blessings, do not just stop there. Because we have this salvation, it's all because of Jesus Christ and all because of a lot of people, they were doing likewise. The missionaries, the pastors, the lay Christians, they were willing to share and give. And that's why today we can have this free salvation. And we have to learn to give because God first gave us. And this is the essence of Makarios. Be a Makarios person. Be a kingdom citizen. So today, I'm going to share with you a song. Of course, not being sung by me. Yeah, and it's a song by Feng Wenghim. He's a Chinese, Cantonese, Hong Kong singer, but he is a Canadian citizen, so he can speak fluent English. And it's an old song, resung by him, 30-year-old song. But when you hear the song, I want you to think of one person or some people that you want to give thanks to them because of their giving, that you are being you today. Their giving has made you today. And when the song goes on, I want you to think of somebody that you want to give thanks to. And of course, brothers and sisters, I want you to do likewise as well. So let's hear this song as like an ending prayer.
Dreamed I went to heaven and you were there with me. We walked upon the streets of gold beside the crystal sea. We heard the angels singing, then someone called your name. You turned and saw this young man, and he was smiling as he came. And he said, friend, you may not know me now. And then he said, but wait, you used to teach my Sunday school when I was only 8. And every week you would say a prayer before the class would start. And one day when you said that prayer, I asked Jesus in my heart. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am a life that was changed. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am so glad you gave. Then another man stood before you and said, remember the time a missionary came to your church and his pictures made you cry. You didn't have much money, but you gave it anyway. Jesus took the gift you gave, and that's why I'm here today. Thank you for giving to the Lord. And I am a life that was changed. And thank you for giving to the Lord. I am so glad you gave. One by one one they came, far as the eye could see. Each life somehow touched by your generosity. Little things that you had done and sacrifices made, I noticed on the earth, in heaven now proclaim. And I know up in heaven you're not supposed to cry, but I am almost sure there were tears in your eyes as Jesus took your hand. You stood before the Lord. He said, my child, look around you, for great is your reward. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am a life that was changed. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am so glad you came. And thank you for giving to the Lord. I am a life that was changed. Oh, thank you for giving to the Lord. Yeah, I am so glad you came. I am so glad you came.